Okay, yesterday we were learning about actually going through the Seder. So we did Kaddish, okay? You have to make Kiddush, the dinim about the customs of what to do with everybody together, so on. Okay, after Kaddish you come to Urchatz. Now, I just want to give one more introduction. The Maril, the Rebbe brings down in the Agada, the Maril, who was one of the earlier great tzaddikim, writes that everything that happens at the Seder table is unbelievably holy. There's a meaning for every minute detail of the Seder. There isn't anything at the Seder that's useless, so to speak. Everything has its place. Okay, so now after Kaddish you finish drinking the wine, so now you do Urchatz. Urchatz means you wash your hands like you do for bread, but you don't make a bracha. Why are we washing our hands? Because now we're going to take the karpas into the salt water. There's a din in halacha, davar shekibuli b'mashke, something that you dip into liquid, you have to wash in. Just like you wash for bread, you have to wash in something that you dip into liquid. Which means, if you take a biscuit and you dip it into coffee or tea, halachically you have to wash in it. If you take an apple and you wash it and it's wet, halachically you have to wash in it. Now most people are not makbin, I can say a lot of people are not. But the Rebbe writes that even those that don't do it a whole year should still do it on Pesach. Why? Because now the kid's asking, you make Kiddush, you're going to wash. Okay, now you're not going to be taking matzah or bread, you're going to be taking karpas. But the reason you don't make a bracha on it, according to most opinions, there are opinions that say you make a bracha on karpas, on just yadayim, but we hold like the opinions that you don't. Most of the people in the world don't. So you wash your hands without a bracha, and then you go sit down and take the karpas. Now, what I don't understand, I guess I will never understand, there are many people, when they wash for karpas, they start talking. Why do they talk? They say, you talk because then you won't remember to make a bracha. You shouldn't make a bracha. Okay? But the truth is, I don't understand, how are you allowed to talk things not pertaining to the karpas? In other words, we're washing our hands because something that's dipped into liquid, you have to wash. And according to many opinions, with the bracha. Okay? So you're washing. So why are you talking? Don't make a bracha because there's an argument in halacha that you make a bracha. But you still have to wash, just like you wash for bread. Just like when you wash for bread until you make a meitzi, you don't talk. So the same thing, when you wash for karpas, you shouldn't be talking. What? When you're washing, at what point you're not allowed to talk? You finish and you start? B'chlal? Yeah. When you start washing. That's what it says in Allah. The first washing. Okay, so then you wash without a bracha, you come back to your table and you're ready to take this. You take the karpas, okay, which is on the left of the Seder plate. You dip it, our custom is 3 times into salt water. And then we make a bracha b'ripir adama. First you dip it into salt water, then you make a adama, not to make a separation 3 times. That's the minute we do it 3 times. Do it 3 times into salt water, just like we dip everything 3 times. So you dip it 3 times, and then you make a bracha after you dip it, because then you're making the bracha closer to the eating. Now we make a b'ripir adama on the karpas. We do not eat it reclining. Most opinions in halacha say you don't recline. That's the accepted tradition in most places, that you do not recline when you eat the karpas. But when you make adama on the karpas, you have to have in mind that this adama also goes on the maror that you're going to be eating later. So therefore, and I'll explain why. Because even though maror you're eating after you wash for matzah, so normally hameitzi covers everything in the meal. But hameitzi only covers things in the meal which are made to fill you up. Here we're not eating the maror to fill you up. We're eating the maror as a separate mitzvah. It has nothing to do with hameitzi. So technically, you would have to make hadama on the maror. But it's questionable. So therefore, halacha says that when you have in mind, you say the b'ripir adama and the karpas, you have in mind that it also goes on the maror that you're going to be eating for the maror and the kairach. So now the question is like this: how much karpas should you eat? If you eat a lot, then you have to make an after bracha. If you make an after bracha, then your adama can't go on the mortar anymore because you already made an after bracha. So therefore, the Rebbe writes, what we do is we eat a small piece of karpas, which is enough that the kid should ask manishtano, but you don't have an issue of making an after bracha, then you don't have an issue with the mortar, the karpas covering the mortar also. So bottom line is, you take the karpas, you dip it 3 times into salt water, and then you make the bracha just by pure adama. We eat it having in mind the mortar, we eat it not reclining. What?
No issue if it takes 2, 3, 4 hours later?
No. You can ask a better question. By the way, the Poskim can talk about it, but not as many as you would think to answer this question. Kiddush has to be b'makom suda. Kiddush has to be mezainis or ameitiyah. You can't just make Kiddush without eating anything, yeah? So now you're making Kaddish, which is Kiddush, yeah? When are you going to eat the matzah, especially if you have a long Seder? You're going to be eating the matzah 2 hours later, maybe. Now normally during the year, if I made Kiddush and didn't eat cake or another cup of wine for 2 hours, I wasn't Yetzer Kiddush, I have to make Kiddush again. Right? Yet, by Pesach, the din is, when you're making Kiddush, what's the Makom Suda? The matzah that you're going to be eating later. So granted, there are opinions in halacha that say one revius itself is enough for Makom Suda. But the pearl, we don't do that. But nevertheless, the poskim, that very few poskim that do talk about it, by the way, they say because it's all the Suda, it's the Haggadah, it's all part of the process of the Suda that Chacham instituted, so therefore it's called Kiddush Makom Suda. But on a regular Shabbos, if you would make Kiddush in 2 hours and not eat cake for 2 hours, you'd have to make Kiddush again.
If someone wants to be extra careful, should they put extra beer and wine and sip it through the...
No, they shouldn't be sipping wine during the Haggadah. Only between the second and third cup you're allowed to drink.
But if you want to do that second cup...
You can't. Okay, that's Karpas. So now you come, after Karpas, you come to Magid. So Magid, the introduction to Magid is, number one, it's a biblical mitzvah. 4 cups of wine is rabbinic. Okay, but, Kaddish Yochas Karpas, Yachatz. I'm sorry, skipped one. Yachatz. What is Yachatz? Yachatz is you break the middle matzah. Why do you break the middle matzah? It's a number of reasons. Number one, the matzah is called in Chumash lechem oini. Lechem oini simply means poor man's bread. But lechem oini also comes the word oneh, you answer. In Hebrew, oneh means to answer. So why is it called lechem oini? She'einin olav davarim harbe. You answer a lot of the manishtana question with a lot of discussion. And the Gemara says, Darke shel ani beprusa. A poor man can't afford a whole bread. He eats pieces here and there. So therefore, you have the 3 matzahs. So now Yachatz, you break the middle matzah. Kabbalistically, why do you break the middle matzah? Because the top matzah is Avram, and the next matzah is Yitzchak, and the bottom matzah is Yaakov. So Yitzchak is a level of Gvura. So you break Gvura, and you take the bigger piece of the matzah that you broke, and you put it away for the Afrikaner. Now, because the Afrikaner is a very important mitzvah, it's reminding us of the Korban Pesach. But according to Kabbalah, and this is our minig, that we break that piece that we take away for the Afrikaner into 5 pieces. Why? Because it's something called sweetening the 5 levels of Gvura. If you ever notice a Shana Rabbah, when you bang the Hishainus on the floor, it says in Kabbalah, you also do it 5 times. Why? Because again, Hishainus on the floor is a Gvura, it's the Aravis, it's the level of Gvura, and you break it, smash it 5 times to sweeten the 5 levels of Gvura. The Rebbe writes in Haggadah that one time, when the Rebbe Rashab, by mistake, it broke into 6, so he put away the 6th piece, he didn't put it away with Afrikaner. Now there's an Inyan dafka 5 pieces to put away for the Afrikaner. So Yachaz basically means you take the middle matzah, you break it, But you can't take 3/4 of a matzah and leave 1/4 of a matzah left, because you still need a kazayas in the middle matzah for later on. So you break it a little bit bigger than half. You take away the bigger piece. You can't say bigger half, because there is no bigger half by definition. A half is a half, not a bigger half. And then you put it away, you break it into 5 pieces. We put it in a bag inside the pillow that we're reclining at. Again, what we mentioned, that there's a minig brought down in halacha that it's based on the Gemara, that tinarkes chaytfim as a matzah, that they would grab the matzah. Kids used to steal dafei kaiman. The reason for that is that they should stay up. Like this, they take dafei kaiman, and when do you eat dafei kaiman? All the way at the end of the Seder. So hopefully the kids will stay up. It's all done for that. Like we mentioned already, that our custom is we don't steal dafei kaiman, because you don't teach kids to steal and then get rewarded for it. So what they do is the father hides it and the kids find it. I mean, it's basically the same concept, to keep the kids up. But we don't steal the dafei kaiman. It happened once when the Rebbe Merash's daughters once did it when she was a little girl, but the minig is we don't do. What?
So if the middle matzah, if you're going to have it later, it's in the Seder plate, and it's not a kazayas, you should add from the box.
You can have from the box, you can have from the middle, from the bottom matzah too. The bottom matzah you can have extra anyway. You can take from the box, you can take there. You don't have, well, when we get to Meitzi Matzah, I'll explain what the thing is. What?
The afikomen that we put away, the one is sharing, or the ones that don't have the whole Seder? They just take
The ones that, with the afikomen, your afikomen is not going to be big enough. It's barely enough for 1 kazayas for you, and our custom is to keep 2 kazayas for the afikomen. So they take from the box, the bag. Years ago, in the time of the Gemara, it seems clearly from the Gemara, that the matzahs they baked were very, very big. Very big. And those matzahs, they divided up to everybody got a kazayas. But today's matzahs, again, just to explain, people should understand. According to, some people say it's volume, some people say it's weight. From the Luach, it's mashma, that the Rebbe is magir, that it's mashma weight. The shirk of a kazayas, for the biblical mitzvah, is 1 ounce. In our terms, 1 ounce of matzah. Now, if you buy a pound of matzah, I'm talking about the shmura matzah now, yeah? If you buy a pound of shmura matzah, yeah. If you buy shmura matzah, and you open it up, so it depends what type of matzah you buy. When we were growing up, most pounds of matzah had 8 matzahs in it. So 8 matzahs divided 16, so then each matzah had 2 kazesim, 2 ounces. Okay, so it worked out pretty good. Now if you buy matzah, depending which matzah you buy, the thin matzah, like the Ukrainian matzah, there's 11 matzahs per pound, approximately. If you buy other thick matzah, like the Borough Park matzah, there's 6 matzahs per pound. Now, if you're going by weight, not volume, so if you have 11 matzahs in a pound,
1.45.
very good, 1.45, so you have to eat, no, not 1.45.
It's like almost 1.5.
No.
16 ounce, no?
You have to eat less than a matzah.
Yeah.
If it would be an ounce of matzah, it would be 16 matzahs in the box. You have to eat two-thirds of the matzah.
It's what there, 145.
Yeah, no, but not more than matzah.
No.
Okay, whatever. You can measure the matzah on Yom Tov with a manual scale, because you're allowed to measure mitzvahs on Yom Tov, otherwise you're not allowed to do measuring on Yom Tov. What? Wait. You can wait. What? No, you can't. I said you can't. I said a manual scale. A manual scale means not electric scale.
No one has a manual scale.
I went to buy a scale for years.
Excuse me. I have in my house a tiny little scale. You know what it is.
35 years ago too.
Huh?
My parents had one from 35 years ago.
No. I don't have one from 35 years ago. Mine is probably 15 years old. You get a little scale. You can still buy them today, by the way. You get it's a little scale. You have mamish a tiny scale. You put a matzah and it goes to 1 pound, 2 pounds, 3 pounds, and I think the maximum is 4 pounds, whatever. You put a matzah on. In fact, I had got this idea from another guy. It was brilliant, and we started doing this. When you prepare for people, instead of coming out to Seder and figure out how much is a kazayas, before Pesach, you take matzahs and you start weighing them. When you see a matzah, put it on, it weighs an ounce? No, pound. See it weigh a few pieces together, you put in the bag, this is for the mitzvah meitzi matzah. Later on, for the other things, kairach, you can use 3/4 of an ounce. But for the original matzah, you really need to eat, let's say, an ounce of matzah weight. So again, how much matzah do you eat? It depends. If you're buying Ukraine matzah, it's 11 matzahs per pound. If you're buying the Borough Park matzah, it's 6 matzahs per pound. So then you can eat less. You can eat 1/3 of a matzah.
Some of that also prepackaged, one kazayas.
Yeah. Today everything is. You can get everything today. Huh?
Buy salt water. They sell salt water.
I know they sell salt water. In the kosher markets, they sell salt water. If you do it in your house, it costs probably 3 cents. And in the store, they sell $5 for a little container of salt water. It's unbelievable. Maybe even more by now. $5, imagine a little container of salt water, $5, when you can take a little. Huh? As a hechsher yet, yeah. A hechsher costs $5. That's the problem. One of the issues today, with Pesach, no, we have 2 minutes. Issue with Pesach, years ago when people made Pesach, they made everything from scratch because there was nothing else. They made
10 pieces of bread in a wrap.
Huh?
You said the same thing about 10 pieces of bread in a wrap. Everyone buys it.
Enochanami. Years ago, people used to make their own gefilte fish from A to Z, and everything from A to Z. And now you can go into the store, you can order a Pesach Seder from A to Z, and you can have pizza, and you can have whatever you want, all Pesach. So what happens? It loses the taste of Pesach, the warm...
The mistaste.
It's a mistaste.